I'm going to do a overview of how I use Moodle and maybe how you can use it and some of the things I think about when I'm using it. I'm sorry I can't be at the meeting, but this should help even more because you can watch it over and over if it's actually helpful. So a few comments before I start. First of all, I think you should make it as simple as possible. I try to use the simplest ways to do it that I possibly can. Don't confuse adding more technology with a better class. Hopefully you'll see what I mean. The other thing is, I think before you get to the computer, you should always have a written plan of what you want to do when you get there. Write down the things that you want to accomplish, that you think you should be working on before you get overwhelmed with the technology. Also, you want to have the external things that aren't part of Moodle yet being available. So PDFs of lesson assignments or even Word docs, photos or texts for assignments, even if you just got text and you want to copy paste it in. If you have been writing in Word or whatever your favorite word processor program is, you can copy and paste it in here. It's easier to work in your regular standard technology and move it to Moodle than it is to try to figure out, oh, should I save this? Does it save? Blah, blah, blah. Just work in your own program and then move it to Moodle and be sure you're ready to move forward when you go into Moodle what you want to do. So here's the thing. I've got a bunch of courses here. I just logged in. I've got all my old courses. They're always here. We can go to fall 14, 15. I can go, some of these are some are 13, 14, and so on. So you've got them all, and they're grayed out. The three courses that are current, this is spring 16, 17, are these three courses. And then I have a bunch of other courses that I'm creating templates that are going to be for future courses that wouldn't apply to you. You would just have your current courses shown as being live and highlighted, but you can go into any of your old gray courses if you want to copy things or look at them. So this I've got one page here of that, and then if I go into one of these courses, I've got it set up here on the tab already. This is Business 2600. I want to say before I get too far into this, all I ever use in all of Moodle is I use the assignments, which allows them to submit something to me without anybody else seeing it. I use the discussions quite a bit. I always use the discussions. I think that's the most important thing online. And then I use pages, which are simply a way to post information. So those are the three functions of Moodle, the activities that I use. The activity here on Business 2600, I've already turned on the editing, but you just turn it on and off with this little switch over here on the side that says turn editing on and turn editing off. And of course you want to leave it off unless you're editing. But once you turn it on, you get a lot of opportunities to change things around, and that's what we're going to do here. This class, you can see that I've got topic 1 here. I'll turn editing off. It's a little easier to see. I've got quite a bit of introductory information in topic 1, which is basically week 1. And then I've got some assignments here. I've broken the class into groups. You can do that in the classroom or online, doesn't really matter. Once they know what group they're in, they should post to that group. If I click on current event group A, you can see that the students posted into that group on a different discussion from each starting by, and I can see that each student started their own post, so I know that all 5 of them did the assignment. Some of the replies were heavier than others. Obviously this particular topic was heavy in replies, so you can go into it and see how many different replies. Obviously I don't want to read these, but how many different replies there were. You can also see how often I get into and post. I try to reply to just about every post. So here's one of mine, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I replied 7 times. You can also see there's a little breadcrumb here at the top, and I can just click at this to go back to where I was. And so I replied 7 of the 16 are my posts. So you can see that these aren't all student posts. A lot of them are mine feeding them back. You also maybe notice that I don't usually write a whole book in my reply. I just write a few sentences that I think are cogent to them. It's nice that they see you online responding to them, even if it's only a very short. Once in a while I'll just do good work or you're on target or cool or whatever, just so they know that you read it. In fact, most of these, you can see that September 7th was my last post, and these were just a little bit after that, but I pretty much tried to get to all the posts. You can go back to the breadcrumbs here will take you back. This was week 1. Week 2, week 3 is the same, and then I added a bunch of stuff for them to consider online in week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7. And then in this class, they create all their work. They create their own website, a WordPress website, and these are all the links to their website so they can find each other's websites. I posted that for them, but they also put their links into each group. So if you get to Alexander, this was his website link that he created. So they can communicate that way too, which is helpful in discussions. So as you can see in this one, this is a hybrid course, undergrad hybrid. I broke them into groups. They talked amongst the groups so that it's a little easier to talk instead of screaming over 20 people. And so it works pretty easily for a hybrid situation. And that's undergrad. So if we go to grad, this is a class I've got here. I just went up to the tab and I got a different class. This is Business 4158, Behavioral Finance. I've broken this. This is a 7-week class, not a 15-week class, so it's shorter. This class, I got project posting, so each week they're going to work on their project and post the work for the week, and I got a current events posting. I've got an overview here at the top. I've got some overview information here. I give every student my text number. I'm sure that most of you don't. I find it just the easiest way to communicate and make sure that they're on target with what they're doing, but I post that everywhere, so that's no big deal. I put the due date here so they're not confused about it, due Sunday before week 2 class. Project posting. In the project posting, in this class I didn't break them into groups because there's only 8 students. Actually, I think there's 9 students. One's a little bit late. You can see that there's 5-6 responses. I've been the last posting except for Wednesday the 18th. Well, class was yesterday. This is Thursday the 19th. Class was Thursday or Wednesday night, and Cheryl didn't submit this until 2 o'clock, and I was driving to Tracy at 2 o'clock, so I didn't get to it. And today's Thursday, so I'll get to this today sometime, but I will reply to it. There's always at least one reply from me. Virginia, who did a great job on her How I Make Decisions post, nobody's going to reply to that except, good job. She was fantastic. The rest of them, there was some discussion. So you can see there is discussion in this, and you need to be in, or at least I think you need to be involved in it. So it's more work. You got to pay attention to it. And of course, you got to pay attention to it every day, which is very challenging for most people. So you go back here, your breadcrumbs are right here. You just go back to this, and now you're back at the beginning of the course. So that's a couple of courses, grad and undergrad. These are hybrids. There's work to be done here each week. They're all set up. In fact, this week obviously has nothing, but it just has a quick summary because the assignment is basically a continuation of the previous assignment, and they know what that is. But you could put anything in here you want, and I'll show you that here in a minute. So to create one of these, this is pretty easy. I set this other class. I just went to another class. This is Business 4100 Fall 13-14. So this is a class that existed way back in 13-14. It's still online. It's still my class because I taught that class, but I didn't use Moodle at the time. And I don't use Moodle in managerial accounting anyway because accounting has plenty to do without giving it additional discussion topics. But anyway, here's the easy way I set this up. This is starting from scratch. This is what your Moodle class should look like starting from scratch. So there's a couple things. First of all, each topic, I want to turn it into weeks. Each week, I'm only going to do a 7-week class here, so I need to change that. I also need to add my discussions and other things. So I'm just going to go over here and hit Turn Editing On. So it's right over here. We just do Turn Editing On, and that turns the whole thing into an editable document. The easy thing you can do is get rid of a bunch of weeks really quick. You go down to the bottom, and it's got a plus and a minus. If you want to add a week, you hit plus, and you go from topic 14 to topic 15. And if you want to get rid of a week, you hit minus. And each time it cycles, it'll go to the browser, and it'll go to the database, and I'm just hitting the minus sign and getting rid of week after week after week. So you can always add, or topics. It doesn't have to be weeks. I set them up as weeks. It doesn't have to be. And you just keep getting rid of the weeks you don't need. And so we're going to end up with a 7-week class here. And okay, I got rid of that. That's fine. Now I come up here to the news forum. I don't really like the news forum, so this little pencil thing says I can change it, and I'm just going to change it to questions. And then here's the secret. It says escape to cancel, enter when finished. It says it right up here at the top in the yellow, right above questions. Well, if you enter out of this or click somewhere else, if I click over here, it doesn't change it. And that drove me crazy until I figured it out. So I have to go back in and type in questions. And now I hit enter. And questions stay. So that's changed. That's good. But if you forget and click somewhere else after you've typed it in, it'll leave it the same and you'll go, gosh, that's frustrating. You have to hit enter to finish it. So I'm going to add an activity or a resource now. I got topic 1 and I want to add a current event discussion forum. You've got tons of opportunities. So you add an activity. You come over here, you add activity. Look at how many activities. This is information overload. Look at how many activities you can add. Adaptive quizzes, assignments, attendance, certificates, chat, checklist, choice, so on. The 3 I use assignments. The reason I use assignments is so they can submit something, such as a document, a spreadsheet. I do lots of spreadsheets, but I also do a lot of Word docs or PDFs. So they can submit it and nobody else can see it. It only comes to me. The other students can't see it. That's an assignment. That's something they're going to put into a document or some sort of instrument, PDF, Word, spreadsheet. They're going to upload it and it's going to go direct to me, and I'll show you how that works. So I have an assignment. I also use the forum. You can see that I use the forum. This forum, it shows you how to do it. It's just discussions. It's basically a discussion forum where they can start a topic and start talking about things, or you can start a topic and start talking about things. That's the forum portion. You've seen examples of that already. And then I use the page that's down here at the bottom. And the page is simply a place to put text and links and videos and other things. They don't interact with it, they just read it. So it's a static page. So you think of it as a web page. It's a static page. You don't input things to it, you just read it. So you can do any of these. I'm just going to quickly create a form for you. We hit add, and it creates a form. We're going to form name. We're going to say Moodle test discussion. And then I want to describe it. This is NDNU Moodle discussion group. Please post at will. Okay, so that's it. I can go through the bottom here. I can have grading and subscription and tracking. I never do any of this. You can. There's attachments and a word count. You can max the attachment out at 2 megabytes if you want to upload bigger spreadsheets. Sometimes I do have to increase that because they're uploading too much stuff, but not too often. You can have subscriptions. You can do all this stuff. I never touch any of that. It's there. So I'm gonna leave this at 500 kilobytes, but it doesn't really matter. And then I'm gonna save and display. So this is the page I created. It says Moodle test discussion. It says this is a Moodle test discussion. Post at will. I'm going to add a new discussion topic. This is the way it would be. And this is Doug's thoughts. And hi, everyone. Whoops. Okay. And so I could add attachments here and so on. You can also, the discussion subscription, you can send me notifications, or I don't want to be notified. I always leave this on and get the email discussion coming to me. I post to forum, and that's good. It might take a while to edit, but that's okay. I hit continue, and you can see that Doug's thoughts has been entered. So we can go back up here at the top and go from Moodle discussion to topic 1. And we have Moodle test discussion here. And we can change that title just by clicking here. And we can escape to cancel, or we can just click somewhere else. And so we've added an activity in topic 1, so we're pretty good. But wait a minute, topic 1, now I said I wanted week 1. So this gear here allows me to mess with the headers. So this gear, look for the gear. The section name says use default section name. I don't want to use the default section name, that's topic 1. I want to call this week 1. And then I want to put a description. This is week 1 in Moodle discussion. So I save changes. And what do we have? We have week 1. This is week 1 of Moodle discussions. You can add a bunch of stuff in here, anything you want. Everyone that logs in will see this. If they get into here, they won't see anything other than what you put here. So if you want somebody to see it everywhere, put it at the top. If you just want it to relate to this one particular activity, put it here. I'm going to go back to the beginning. And you can see I can just keep adding and adding and adding, and so on and so forth. And I could add other things. If I want to add another activity, I could add an assignment, or I could add a static page, either one. Or you could add any of these other things and play with them and try them. I don't use them because simple is good for me. I'm very happy with simple. So if I add an assignment, we'll just add an assignment. That's going to pop up. The assignment name is Moodle Exam. Do this exam, and this little icon here will give you more options. So this just toggles in and out, and it opens this bottom menu. So when I say do the exam, to link an exam to this is I found it to be the easiest thing. I highlight where I want the link to be, and then I click up here and I get a link, and then it says browse repositories. Well, I could enter a link as a URL, or I could browse repositories, and I'm going to attach, I'm going to choose a file. I'm going to Dropbox, where am I going to find an exam? 4100, other, where's an exam? I think this is an exam. Let's open this. And I can save as something if I want. I don't save it as anything. I let it just be the name of the file, and I upload this file. And now you can see I have saved the exam, and I'm going to save and return to course. You can save and display, which will show it, or save and return to course. So here's your Moodle exam, and if I go to Moodle exam, I said do this exam, and if I click on the exam, it shows me my managerial accounting exam. I can download it and so on as a PDF. So if I click back to this tab, oops, I want to click back screen, and I can get out of that. There's the do the exam portion. Or I can go all the way back to here, and I've created my first week. Obviously, if you've got your exam already and you just want to say do this exam, that's done. Keep going. The one other thing you might want to do, I like to hide the future weeks so they can't see what's going on. So I'm going to take this little eye over here and go hide, and you'll see it grays out a little bit, and hide, and hide, and hide, and hide, and get rid of all of them. Now if I turn editing off, you'll see that you have your topics here. And if I switch my role, this is kind of a fun thing to do. You can switch your role, and you can switch it to student, and the student will say this is not available. So you can get into week 1, but it doesn't even know if you've finished it yet. This is the best thing. If you don't have topic 2 done or week 2 done, it doesn't matter. Just hide it from them and get to it before you have to open it. Now you have to remember to open it, because otherwise you're going to get a text or an email or something that says, hey, week 2 isn't open, but you can hide them. So if I return to my normal role, which is right here, now you can see that they're all here. If I turn editing back on, you can see that they're hidden. If I turn this one that's hidden off and turn editing off and switch my role to student again, you can see that topic 2 is shown. And it shows that I haven't done anything with it. And what are you doing, professor? So I like to just leave them hidden. And if I leave editing on, the easy thing here is just to make sure you cross out the I, and then you open them every week. Okay, so that's how to create a course, basically. I mean, that's all there is to it. Don't make it harder than that. If you want to create a static page, you want to do that, you just go to page, and we add, and the page comes up, and it says name, and this is static page, and the description is page for Moodle info. And then page content. Well, I can put anything in there I want. I've got all these links. I can add files. I can do anything I want. I'm just going to put text in there. Insert text here. And I'm going to save and return to course. And now I have my third module, static page. Now wait, I want my static page to be first. I don't want to be last. Just grab this arrow and move it up. There you go. And my exam second, or my Moodle test discussion is second, and my Moodle exam's third. That sounds reasonable to me. I got 3 different types. That's good. So everything's good here. What's the static page look like? We click on static page, and this is what they'll see. Static page, text, insert text here, and the date I modified it. But you can put anything in these static pages you want, and I will give an example of that in a second. So go back to here. I've created, essentially, if I had all my content, I've created all 3 different types of modules here. You can do as many as you want. And that's as hard as it has to be. That's moving around. You want to change static page to something else, just change it, or click somewhere else and it goes away. You can edit over here, you can move it right, you can hide it, you can duplicate it. Duplicate's very helpful. So if I hit duplicate, you can see that it doubles the static page. It's going to think about it. So now I've got 2. So if I've got static page 2, I can just change that. Oops, see what I did? I clicked off of it. That's my mistake. I do it all the time. 2, enter, and now it saves static page 2. So if you have one assignment and you want to do a bunch, you can just keep duplicating them and move them around. So I can take this and move it down here. And now I've got second week. And I can take this Moodle test and I can move it here. And if I duplicate it, if I set the first one up right, I can just duplicate them and change the content or whatever it needs to be changed for the next week. So that's an easy way to keep building. So that's good. We've talked about importing. I think we talked about importing. Let me make sure you did. So I got this class. I can import everything into this class from a previous class. So if I want to import, instead of doing everything I did here and starting from scratch, if you have a previous class, I've got a bunch. See, it says too many results. I've got a ton of classes here. So I'm just going to go to Business 4108. That's my corporate finance class. Continue. And it says Business 4108. I got a whole bunch of Business 4108 classes here. And I think the one that's most recent was 1516, summer 1516, fall, where's 15? Fall 1516. Let's do fall 1516. I think that's a full class. Some of them are just placeholders and some of them aren't. So let's continue and do that. And it'll ask me, do I want all this? I bring everything in, so I'm going to jump to final step. And it's thinking about it. Hopefully it won't take too long. It's grabbing all of the content from that previous class. It's getting rid of things like the student answers or student responses and things like that. It's just taking the course content, not the answers from the students and all the replies and all that stuff. And it's importing that course to this course. This is the Business 4100 Fall 13-14 course. And it's bringing in here. It's going to take a minute to do that. While it's doing that, I'm going to go on to the next one that I want to show you. This is a template. This is Business 4108. This is my template for Business 4108 for a full online class. So a full online class is separate than a hybrid class because all of the content, there's going to be no in-class lecture. So all of the content is here. You can see we have a Get Started module. And you know if I turn edit settings on, that I can get in here and change all this around. And when I turn edit settings on, they should turn on. I got this other one going over here. Course import complete. Continue. And look, it brought in everything. So I have my original static page, Moodle exam, Moodle test, and it brought in all the current events for that class. So I had a big class that time. I broke them into 5 different teams. Apparently I needed a 5 on this E, so let's fix that. We do 5, and then we hit enter because we don't want to do that. So we fixed that, but I had all my stuff, and then I added all this other stuff. So you can do all kinds of stuff this way. But you can see, once you have a course, you just import the next course, and you can get all your information. And if I go to one of these team events, this is the stuff that went in, but there's no discussion. It gets rid of all of that, so you don't have to worry about it. So that's import. So the import function for saving old courses and moving forward, and of course you can save them as templates and so on. It's really easy to do. Okay, so we get past that. Let's go back to this course. So this course is now in edit mode, and we know that we can change anything, including this get started. We can change the welcome. We can change all this. We can move them in order, move them around. We can do anything we want to this course. This is a pretty well-built course. I put a lot of time and energy into this, and so this is pretty well-built, so we're not going to mess with it too much here. I'm just going to give you an example. So I'm going to actually turn editing off because I don't want to mess with it and make a mistake. Now, in setting this up, I've given you a summary for the week, a week in, and then I've got learning objectives. We know our learning objectives. We use Bloom's taxonomy here for different verbs and so on. I'm going to go back here. The next one is readings and media. Now, this is different because the whole class is online. So I've done several things here I wouldn't do in a hybrid course. First of all, I put all my lectures into video. So this is a video that's playing on YouTube. And so you can see that I've created a plethora of videos. This is 1 week's worth of videos. And you can look at this video and you can show it full screen, and it gets really big. I won't bore you with that or with me. But you can go through this. You can see that it goes to the slides that you would use and so on. So this is a video. So I'm going to stop this. And then over here at time value of money, I've just got a PDF. So this is a PDF document that I created. You can give those, put those in there for content. Here at the bottom, you've got your week 1 PowerPoint slides. I should probably move this to the top. And the week 1 PowerPoint slides, they can just read the slides that are there. So you can do that. So this is the content. This is the lecture portion that would take you in class. So that you would normally do in class. So you have the readings and the media, and then you have discussion forums for introductions and current events, and then you have a homework assignment for assignment 1, a quiz, and an assignment for reflection. So the reflections can either be discussion, or in this case it's an assignment that they're going to submit. And then you can see I just do it week by week. Learning objectives, reading is a material. Readings and material this week are going to be, quite a few more videos, and also textbook reading. So instead of handing a handout, which is what I did in first week, I just assign them, read chapters 1, 2, and 3. And of course at the bottom I've got the PowerPoint slides for my video. You can set up any content you want. Obviously it's going to match your class, not necessarily mine. But each week you can see as I go through these, it's pretty much a standard repetitive task. Once you've got them set up, they're kind of easy to copy and paste and then just change what you have to change for that week. I've also put my projects in here. Each step of the project they do every week and submit portion of it. And then, of course, week 7, they got a final exam and so on. Now, my final exams, as I said, I don't set them up online as auto-graded. They're a paper exam that they fill out and attach their answers. Usually it's spreadsheets because I teach finance all the time, so they got to attach a spreadsheet as their answer for the most part. So this is a full-blown online class because it has all of the content material as well as the textbook, plus it has a lot of assignments. There's 3 full assignments a week plus a quiz and so on. That's more than a hybrid usually is, but it's the same tools. Once you know how to do a page, then you know how to do a discussion, you know how to do an assignment, you're good. Now there is a syllabus here. You don't have to do this. In fact, all you have to do is import your own syllabus as a PDF and you're done. This syllabus breaks the course into learning objectives and so on, and you can see that it's maybe a little easier to follow. Here's course materials, here's assignments and grading, so it breaks that up. Learning objectives, ties in attendance requirements, whatever. So you can break it into a syllabus if you want. I guess I do use this once in a while, but not very often. And this is a full-blown online course. I wouldn't do this in class. I just hand them a syllabus or put it in the portal. Okay, so we've done quite a bit here. I tell you, there's no difficult way to do this. It's really simple. The most important thing is to start with the content you have and what you want to accomplish. Decide if it's just content you wanted to read, which is a page. If it's a discussion forum, which is easy to do, you just have a discussion forum telling me what you want to discuss or what they want to read, or that you have an assignment. And you have an assignment, what do you want them to submit? If you just use those 3 basic tools, and I showed you how to set them up as individual elements in your assignments, It's pretty simple to set up the whole course. If you want to get beyond that, you can. I can't, there's plenty of people to help you. Just Google Moodle and you can find out all kinds of stuff. Moodle is a very popular platform. It might be the most popular platform out there. I've used 4 or 5 different platforms in my days. This one's fine. There's no problem with it at all. It's easy to use. I'm sure you'll find it real easy to use. So as I said, make it as simple as possible. Start with your existing content, what you want to accomplish each week in your Moodle platform, and then take all your external things that you have, the assignments, the readings, the links, whatever else it is, pull all that together in one place, and then write out things like this. This week provides blah, blah, blah. Write that out before you hit turn editing on. Because when you turn editing on here, and all of a sudden you have to type this, and you hit the little gear, and all of a sudden you're here typing, if you don't save the changes and go to another web page, you've lost them. And all of a sudden it's like, well, I just spent time doing that. And so you know how that works. So the easy thing is to write this the way you really like to write, Word documents, or even longhand. Some people like to write longhand or brainstorm longhand, and then type it up. And if you do, then you won't lose anything. And it's hard to work in this because it's really not your word processing program until you're used to it. I mean, I do it all the time, but I've been doing this for a while. So I suggest you pull everything together, write the way you want to write it, create the sessions you want to do on paper before you get to Moodle, and then go to Moodle and use it as a tool. Don't try to think in Moodle. It's too hard. It's easier to write what you want and translate it into the Moodle language than it is to try to think in a different language, right? So think about it as Spanish or a foreign language, and if you don't think in Spanish, think in English and translate. That's a lot easier for most people, or at least until you get fluent with the language. So, as I said, I think that's all I can add to you. It's how I use it. My students, the most of my students like my online teaching, and the main reason for it is because 2 things. One, I constantly am online and I'm constantly commenting on their work. They see me there all the time. They're never alone. I also add to that by giving them my text number so they have a way to communicate with me without being online. But basically, I check it every day. I respond as fast as I possibly can, and that keeps the engagement and the discussion going. In addition to that, when you are doing a discussion question for any of this, try to leave a question. That continues the discussion. So, that's interesting. How do you think about this? And tie something else in the lessons. That keeps the discussion going, keeps them thinking, so that gets more engagement, and you can get those 15, 16, 20 threaded responses. And that's really the secret, is leave what I call breadcrumbs. Leave some mark that you were there, not that you just read it, but you comment on it. Even if your only comment is good, they at least know you read it and that you're involved. And that's the number one secret to online learning and online teaching, that they need to know that they're not isolated and alone. And if you can get through that, online's easy. The problem is that takes work. It takes time and energy. You can't go to the classroom, put the book away, and not think about it until next week. I do this every day. Every day I'm online, and that is very taxing if you don't want to do it, number one, or if you don't have time, or you've got things going on. It can pile up on you. If you set all these assignments up and you don't get on them, you can have days and days of reading and replying and so on, and it can be very challenging to catch up. So as much as I tell students don't fall behind, teachers can't fall behind either. So there's another a sage piece of advice from somebody who's done it before. Don't fall behind, because you won't like it. Okay, so this is a big class, and this is all the classes I've got. You don't want that. This is much more like it. You just add a bunch of stuff that you want them to know. They all see this. Then they come and either do a discussion or assignment or something else that's involved with it. You can add YouTube video links if you want them to watch something. That's no problem. This is more like it with some of my classes, is they've got a couple of assignments a week in grad school, because we've got so much short time that they've got their project posting, current events, or assignment, or whatever they're doing. That's more like a hybrid. A full-blown course online is much more along these lines. where you've got your content and material as well as multiple assignments, quizzes, reflections, and so on. I also think if you're going to teach online and hybrid, add reflections, add assignments where you go to this reflection and it says, after reviewing the course material in the first week, please respond to your thoughts on the course, especially anything that will help you understand material. Checking in with them like that, I don't understand this is hard to do, etc. Very helpful for the students, and they feel like and especially because you respond to every one of these, they know you read it, they know you heard it, that they're not being just talking to the web or talking into the ether of online. Okay, I've taken too much of your time. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me, drice@ndnu.edu. Don't hesitate to get a hold of me. I would be more than happy to help you in any way I can. This is how I use Moodle. Things beyond how I use Moodle I'm going to have to look them up the same way you would. This works as long as you are engaged with your students. It's fantastic. If you decide that you posted it and you don't have to deal anything with it, it's horrible. So that really, to me, is the dividing line in online, and it's harder than doing it in the classroom by a good margin. I'm on this all day. I'm not on it all day every day, but I'm on it every day, and that is not a classroom class. That is a whole different way of thinking about your class and working and what's going on. So you have to take that into consideration as you advance in this. Hybrid's easier because you don't usually have to be there every day, but you pretty much have to be there every day because people start posting and they want responses and they have questions. So it really does start to become, just a habit. I don't know, I say it's an hour a day, but it's some time. You got to read a lot of stuff. And online is all about reading and typing. If you don't like to read on the screen, that's not good. And if you don't like to type, you have to type every one of your answers. You can do screen captures, you can do videos and stuff, but boy, you're still going to end up typing. And I can do screen capture videos and show you how to do a screen capture like this one easily if you want, but you can just Google it. I just use QuickTime, and it's really, really simple. Okay, I've said I'm done twice now, so I think that should be done. You know how to get a hold of me. Thanks for everything. Thanks for working so hard at NDNU. Our students love it, and I think it's fantastic that you're doing this. So thanks so much, and let me know if you have any questions.